I was lucky enough to be elected in the very first parliament in 1979 when we first had European elections and a European parliament. And in the European election 18 months ago, I was actually the only person in the whole of Europe standing as a candidate who'd been elected in the first parliament. So my span was 35 years, which is quite long. The overwhelming argument is quite simply, what would we do if we were on our own? The president of China, the president of the USA, all big businesses in Europe, everybody says we've got to stay in. That it's our family, that's our part of the world. We can influence it from the inside where we are. On the outside, we can't at all. It's a compromise. Remember, there's 28 countries, and if you were in a family of 28 people, you wouldn't get your own way all the time. But the trick is to get more than your share by arguing effectively. But if you're outside the family, nobody will listen at all. So we've got to stay in to look after our interests. It's in our interest to have one, peace in Europe, and two, a large market in Europe. And if we pull out this and say we're not having to do with it, that won't help the Greeks to buy our goods in future, or any of the other countries. Turkey is another country, an enormous country that wants to join. We want a peaceful, large market. We're a champion exporting nation. Wouldn't we be stupid to turn our backs on our major export market on our doorstep? So it's in our interest to help the Greeks. They've been cheating, they've not been paying their taxes, but Angela Merkel, bless her, in Germany, and everybody else has been saying, come on Greeks, this is the right way to behave, right way to become prosperous. It's in our interest to help them. The East Midlands, not totally, but is a very agricultural area. We get an enormous amount, or our farmers do, from the Common Agricultural Policy. And the farmers love it because it provides them a basement below which prices don't fall, so they can grow with confidence and so on, and feed us all. And so that's an enormous benefit. And then there's fishing on the East Coast and so on. But the biggest argument is just simply peace. We've lived in non-stop peace since 1945, the longest period ever in all European history. We've had continuous peace. And if you look at other parts of the world, 7 or 8 wars going on in Africa at the moment. I won't even mention the Middle East, which is melting down wherever you look. We live in peace, and the East Midlands enjoys peace, and we should never throw that away. There is no substitute for sheer hard work to contact as many people as possible and get the message across, help local councillors when they're fighting their local elections, by-elections, wherever it is in the next 2 or 3 years, and then they will come back and help you. There's no substitute, and we Lib Dems are really good at helping on the doorstep, doing the work, unlike the Tories and the Labour Party. So that's the secret. If we can do our work and get out there, we can do very well next time. When we have this referendum and this campaign and this vote, it will be the biggest question that we've all had as Brits to answer in a generation, 20 or 30 years. Either we commit national suicide, abandon our family, our biggest market, our neighbours, our friends in NATO, and then turn our backs on them and take a chance like a bit of driftwood drifting on the ocean, or we set sail, lead Europe in future and forge a strong united continent. There couldn't be a bigger question about each of our own futures. So I hope that everybody, when they're thinking about campaigning or voting or getting the vote out, will say, this is an enormously important question. Please, member of the public, think about this and make sure you vote. Make sure you vote.